Hi guys, I'm Bobsy, and in this video we're going to look into how to work with the PurrLobby setup of PurrNet. Now this is probably the easiest lobby setup that you're going to come across in probably quite a while, so let's just get right into it. In order to start us off, I already have the PurrNet incremental sample booted up here, where we have both a host and a client, as you can see. And anybody who's familiar with this sample, even if you're not, essentially the base idea is it's as simple as your game gets. You can see it's just a single scene. We just have the game scene and there's really nothing else. Obviously PurrNet's in the project as a requirement for any PurrNet features. So let's just get right into the PurrNet lobby. Now, first things first, you want to go to Tools, PurrNet, and the PurrNet Packages window. Once this loads, you will also be able to see here at the top that it'll ask you to log in. You can see in my case, I'm already logged in as Bobsy, but you just need to log in as yourself, which essentially requires a Discord login through the website. Should be very, very easy. And once you're logged in, you can see all the packages that PurrNet provides beyond just default PurrNet. Obviously, just good to know as well. It's very easy to update PurrNet through here. You can just click to go to release or click to update to dev, or whichever you prefer. And you can also see what changes has been done since you last updated. Now, scrolling down here, in my case, PurrLobby is at the very bottom, but we might have moved it somewhere else by the time that you watch this. You'll be able to see here we have PurrLobby. You can obviously select the drop down, select whatever version that you want, but in our case, we're just going to be installing the dev version. Now that we have the PurrLobby installed, let's do the bare minimum to actually get it running. First of all, you will now see if you go into the packages, you can see that we have PurrLobby here. And the thing with PurrLobby is that this is technically not a muted package, meaning you can make changes in here, but be aware that every time you update PurrLobby, this folder will essentially get overwritten, which obviously isn't great if you want your changes to keep around. So in our case, we can go ahead and maybe just copy the menu scene here and move it essentially into our own scenes folder. So now we have our own menu scene. We can also just rename it if you want to. This can be our menu scene test. So I can open this up and I can go ahead and just hit play. And as you'll see now, you can see that the lobby has initially just started up, easy as that. But before we get too far in here, let's actually have a look at what's already here. So there's a few things to know about this setup. First of all the UI is basically already handled for you. If you want to customize it, have a look in the documentation. It'll essentially go through the entire setup and more depth of the setup. In our case, what we care about is the fact that we have the lobby manager here. So you can see that we have the orchestrator. The orchestrator by default points to the PurrNet orchestrator, which will go through all of the PurrNet services, which is exactly why that it's telling us to install the Purr services. So let's click this button and let it finish installation. There we go. Now that the Purr services are installed, you can see that this has now expanded, essentially saying that we need to create a project in the dashboard. Now you can pretty much just click this button. It'll automatically create it for you and link it as well. And pretty much as easy as that, you now have it. Now for the curious ones of you that really wants to know what actually just happened, if we go into the browser, you make sure to log into the PurrNet.dev website and we click on the dashboard button here. You'll now see that we have the PurrNet progressive sample here. That's the project that just got auto-created for us. And in here, you can essentially see what's going on with the project. And it's easy as that. And you can actually give other members access to the project as well using their Discord credentials. And just to outline it, if you go into the billing section, you can see that by default, you're on the free plan of PurrNet, which allows up to 10 concurrent lobbies with 16 players per lobby, as well as a 30-minute total lifetime. This is, by the way, all entirely free. Don't need a credit card, don't need anything, don't need any information. You just need to be logged in and you automatically have access to this. And just one last thing that we have to do. If we go into the orchestrator again and we find the game allocator, here you should be able to see your game scene and you need to set it obviously to your actual game scene. You can see in my case it's assets scenes, game scene.unity. So now that all that's set up, you can see that it's no longer complaining. And when we hit to start, you can see that there's no complaints anymore. This also means that we can now go ahead, for example, and just create a lobby. And you can see that we can create a lobby with a name, test name, and we can say that it's publicly available and we can create the lobby. And easy as that, here we are. Now I've just booted up my clone as well. You can see I've just named it clone. And if I go and search for lobbies and I enter the test name lobby, you can now see that I immediately enter in here and the connection is automatically spun up. And here we go. Now we're perfectly connected. And as you can see, I can now ready up here. You can see I get set as ready here. I can ready up here and now the game will essentially begin. And here we are. Now we're on the game scene. I have double audio. And that's essentially easy as that. So now you can see we have a lobby setup, but it gets better yet. Now if we go into the packages as well, obviously there is already a game scene. But more than that, we can just go to the previews, the setup, and you can see there is the session manager. So if we go ahead and we go into our game scene of the actual game, and we're going to put the session manager in here, and that's essentially it. Leave it at that, save the scene. And now let's go back to the menu scene and start up. Now you can see we first of all got a message that we lost connection from the previous game. But if we go ahead and create a lobby, and let me just start the game solo. Oh, sorry, we're not in there. There we go. Start the game solo. You can see we're now connecting. And here we are in the scene. Everything's spinning up. And there we go. And if I now click escape, you can see now immediately there's a pause menu as well, allowing us to just leave to the menu easily. And there you go. Now you have the full flow, back and forth, easy as that. Now, some extra information valuable to point out. The orchestrators are really going to be what's the heart and soul of everything that you make here. By default, a lot of things of the PurrLobby is set to essentially expand on demand. So for example, if you have the PurrVoice in here, you can actually have voice chat directly in the lobby, easy as that. And as you can see, the orchestrator essentially has several providers, a session provider, lobby provider, matchmaking provider, and so on and so forth. And these can essentially be switched out. You can see, for example, in this case, Steam is very easy to implement. And the same thing also goes for Heroic Labs Nakama, which there'll be a separate video on how to work with that. So hopefully this little setup was good enough to get you through it. I really urge you to go and look at the docs. I'm aware that these videos, they kind of breeze through it very quickly. The documentation should really give you a more in-depth view and hopefully answer any questions that you have. And if you have any trouble, please leave a comment below and I'll do my best to help you out. Make sure to join the PurrNet Discord. There's a lot of awesome people over there willing to help out all the time. And other than that, I just hope that you have a wonderful day.